Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, this is long overdue, to be honest. I'm going to react to what the Commonwealth is exactly. I've always had a vague idea of what it is. Some kind of coalition of countries that, I don't know, used to be part of the British Empire, but now they're just like kind of friends? I don't know. I also don't know who is in the Commonwealth. I'm extra confused because I thought last week when I came up with this idea to react to the countries in the Commonwealth, I thought it said there were like 16. Now this says 54. 54? Maybe it would be faster to react to the countries that are not in the Commonwealth. Check out 435 American. Link down below. This is the Commonwealth explained.
The British Empire hasn't really existed since the late 60s. However, the empire didn't disappear without leaving a long-lasting legacy on the geopolitical landscape of today.
And did I mention, I don't know if I made this clear, I don't know what countries are in the Commonwealth. That's my main question. What countries are in it?
A legacy that led to the creation of the Commonwealth of Nations. The Commonwealth of Nations is an association of 54 independent and sovereign states.
Okay.
Most of which are former territories of the British Empire.
Okay.
With a conjoined land area of 11.5 million square miles.
Damn. What's the land area of the world? That's what I want to know. Land area of the world. I guess I could exclude... I wish I could exclude Antarctica. You know, like that's kind of meaningless, but 200 million. Damn. 11 million. That's a lot. 5% of the entire planet's land is in the Commonwealth.
And 2.4 billion people.
Damn.
The Commonwealth contains approximately...
Damn. So if it was a country, which is obviously not, but it would be the biggest country.
Approximately 20% of the world's land and 32% of the world's inhabitants.
Every time I say something like that, I need to make sure, like, what's the population of China now? I did not mean to make that go away. 1.4 billion. It's not even close. But of India, 1.4 billion as well. Okay, yeah. It's not even close.
This massive association is unique on the world stage, with its roots in British imperialism. At its height, the largest empire the world had ever seen, the decline of the British Empire led to political turmoil and unrest throughout its formerly colonized regions.
You know, I kind of got to react to the decline of the empire, because how did this thing even decline? It's so big, I would have thought it could never fail.
Particularly outside of its mostly white colonies like Canada and Australia. These colonies would be the first to see change, being promoted to dominion status throughout the late 19th century and early 20th century. This meant they had more independence over their own affairs, while still ultimately being under the authority of the crown.
Okay.
Canada would be the first to become a dominion in 1867. Followed by Australia in 1901, New Zealand and Newfoundland in 1907, South Africa in 1910, and Ireland in 1922, the leaders of which would attend the 1926 Imperial Conference. At this conference, Britain and its dominions agreed that they would all be equal members of the British Empire, meaning, despite all owing allegiance to the crown, they would not be ruled by the United Kingdom. The powers at this conference decided on the name British Commonwealth of Nations.
It's interesting how Ireland's the only one without the Union Jack up in the corner.
To describe their newly formed organization. The first form of what we now know as the Commonwealth of Nations today. This agreement would be formalized in the Statute of Westminster in 1931, allowing the Commonwealth to take shape. It is notable to point out that, at the time of the Imperial Conference, the British Empire included vast areas of land in Africa, much of the Middle East, the entirety of Pakistan and India, as well as several other regions across the world, while the only territories represented at the Imperial Conference were the predominantly white members of the British Empire, leading many to refer to this early form of the Commonwealth as the White Commonwealth.
Gotcha.
The newly formed British Commonwealth of Nations would only exist in this form for a relatively brief period. Britain's colonies not included in the early Commonwealth began to seek further separation and even independence from the British, beginning with India in 1947. India would become a part of the Commonwealth initially. However, upon announcing intentions to sever ties with the crown and become a republic in 1949, it would no longer meet the requirements for Commonwealth membership. It was because of India's switch to a republican form of government that, at a meeting of Commonwealth leaders in 1949, it was decided that member states may be in the Commonwealth if they accepted the British Crown as a symbol of free association between member states, meaning India could remain in the Commonwealth. Along with this change, it was decided that the British Commonwealth of Nations would drop the British in its title, becoming the Commonwealth of Nations we know today.
I did not realize that the British... I thought those were interchangeable. British Commonwealth. I didn't know there's no British anymore. Wow.
Pakistan and
So it's really kind of meant to put them on an even playing field. Like, we are all just a Commonwealth together. It's kind of beautiful.
Sri Lanka would also be Commonwealth members by 1949. The Irish Free State, one of the founding members of the original British Commonwealth, would withdraw from the Commonwealth at this time as well, meaning this is what the new Commonwealth of Nations looked like as of 1949.
Okay.
The number of Commonwealth nations would increase greatly throughout the next several decades. However, it did not come without its issues. 2 other member states, on top of Ireland, would leave the Commonwealth. Firstly, the founding member South Africa in 1961, and later Pakistan in 1972. Both of these, however, would rejoin. The first being Pakistan, rejoining after 17 years in
Pakistan is in the Commonwealth. I had no idea.
1989. And the second, South Africa, rejoining after 33 years in 1994. Mozambique,
Wow.
joining in 1995.
It's amazing how recent history this is.
Was the first nation to join the Commonwealth of Nations that was not at some point under British control.
Oh.
But
Wait, what? You can do that?
rather Portuguese control as a colony.
Oh.
Today, the Commonwealth of Nations has 54 member states across the world, with the most recent addition being Rwanda in November of 2009. While
I wonder what kind of perks you get. I'm gonna have to learn more.
since 1949, Commonwealth members have been allowed to choose their head of state freely. Many Commonwealth nations continue to observe the Queen as a reigning constitutional monarch.
Rest in peace.
These 16 nations are all members of the Commonwealth of Nations, and are collectively known as the Commonwealth Realm. These nations include, among others, Canada, Jamaica, the UK, Australia, Papua New Guinea, and New Zealand. The Commonwealth of Nations is one of the largest associations of countries in the world today, and exists to serve the economic, social, and political needs of its member states, from some of the world's largest economies to countless developing nations, and is an interesting result of British imperialism.
That is super interesting. So it's kind of like a networking thing. It's like a really loose alliance. I guess I need to learn. I'm just gonna read the first paragraph of the Wikipedia article. How about that for right now? Because I don't want to, get bogged down in this too much. The Commonwealth of Nations is an international organization. Yes, indeed. Of course it is. The vast majority of which are former territories. Yes, they're connected through their use of English language. I didn't know that. These places all speak English? I don't understand that. I wouldn't have thought they did, anyway. And cultural and historical ties. Like English as a second language, or what? Obviously, half these countries don't speak English. The chief institutions of the organization are the Commonwealth Secretariat, Intergovernmental Relations, and the Commonwealth Foundation, which focuses on non-governmental relations between member nations. Okay, so as far as its objectives, committed the Commonwealth to the institution of world peace, promotion of representative democracy, individual liberty, pursuit of equality, opposition to racism, fight against poverty, ignorance, and disease, and free trade. Wow, I love all these things. This is pretty epic. Commonwealth is pretty badass, dude. I didn't know that.
This is 435 American. Thanks for watching.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh, I guess the actual number is now 56. And 2.7 billion people. Let's see. I just want to browse this list right here. See if anything sticks out to me. I mean, I'll just say I was unaware it was so much African. Well, this is all Africa. I just realized that. But still, I didn't know this many African countries were in the Commonwealth. Okay, I didn't know about Pakistan. I didn't know about hardly any of these. But I'm just picking out the ones that stand out to me a little bit. Singapore, okay. The Bahamas. Okay. That's it in Europe? That's it? That's so crazy. There's so many more in Africa than in Europe. See, that shifts my mental model of the Commonwealth quite a bit. I didn't know that. I don't know anything about the Commonwealth, guys. I would have thought it was mostly European countries. What do I know? Okay. A lot of small countries, a lot of very small, impoverished countries, really. Mixed with other, advanced economies like Australia. Very interesting. Very interesting. At least I think so. Thank you for watching. Shout out to the Commonwealth. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.